For centuries, England was a target for Viking raids and invasions. By the mid-11th century, the Vikings had established a foothold in parts of the country, and their influence remained strong. But one man in particular had his eyes on the English throne, Harald Hardrada, King of Norway. Harald Hardrada was no ordinary king. He was a seasoned warrior and a man of ambition. He believed he had a claim to the English throne through an old agreement between previous rulers of Norway and England. When Edward the Confessor died in 1066 without an heir, England became the prize in a power struggle between claimants. Harold saw this as his chance. With the support of Tostig Godwinson, the brother of Harold Godwinson, who had been crowned King of England, Harold launched an invasion in 1066. On September 25, 1066, Harold led a surprise attack on the Vikings at Stamford Bridge. After hours of brutal combat, Harald Hardrada was killed, and the Vikings were defeated. This marked the end of the Viking Age in England. England, for the moment, had been defended from foreign invasion, but King Harold's victory came at a great cost. His army was tired and weakened, and another threat was just days away. While Harold was fighting, William of Normandy was preparing his own invasion from the south. William claimed that Harold had promised him the throne, and that he had been wrongfully crowned after Edward the Confessor's death. Just days after the Battle of Stamford Bridge, William landed on the southern coast of England with a well-prepared army. Harold Godwinson was forced to march his exhausted troops south to meet the Normans. The two armies met at the Battle of Hastings. The battle was fierce and lasted all day. Harold's army, made up mostly of foot soldiers, fought valiantly, but William's cavalry and archers proved decisive. Legend has it that Harold was killed by an arrow to the eye, and with his death, the English forces collapsed. On Christmas Day, William the Conqueror was crowned the first Norman king of England. His reign marked the beginning of a new era in English history, the blending of Norman and Anglo-Saxon cultures and the establishment of the feudal system. When William the Conqueror died, his vast holdings were divided between his sons. His eldest, Robert Curthose, was given Normandy, while his third son, William Rufus, inherited the English crown. William II became the second Norman king of England. His reign would be marked by conflict, both with his own family and with the church. Born in around 1056, William Rufus was the third son of William the Conqueror and Matilda of Flanders. Known for his red hair and fiery temperament, he earned the nickname Rufus, meaning red. From a young age, William displayed physical strength, military skill, and a commanding presence. Despite his skills, William's early years were marked by tension within the family. His elder brother, Robert Curthose, was rebellious and often clashed with their father. William Rufus, on the other hand, was loyal to his father. William the Conqueror died in 1087. He divided his realm between his sons. Robert received Normandy, while William was given the crown of England. This division planted the seeds of a fierce rivalry between the brothers over the next 2 decades. Robert, as the eldest son, believed he was entitled to the entire inheritance, including the English throne. Meanwhile, William was determined to keep his crown and expand his influence. Robert wasted no time in plotting against William Rufus. In 1088, Robert allied with a group of English barons who were dissatisfied with William's rule. Together, they launched a rebellion to overthrow William and install Robert as the King of England. The rebellion broke out across southern England. The Norman barons, led by Bishop Odo of Bayeux, rose in revolt, hoping to unite England and Normandy. William's uncle Odo of Bayeux, who had been made Earl of Kent by his half-brother William the Conqueror, was an ambitious and dangerous relative. Odo had once become the second most powerful man in England, but he had fallen out of favor with William the Conqueror. William Rufus was known for his ruthless tactics and military prowess, quickly gathered loyal forces to crush the rebellion. One of the most significant battles took place at Rochester Castle, where the rebels, including Bishop Odo, had made their stronghold. William besieged the castle, cutting off supplies and forcing the rebels to surrender. Bishop Odo, the key conspirator, was captured and exiled. Robert's hopes of taking the English throne were dashed, and William Rufus emerged victorious. In 1091, the rivalry reignited. William, eager to assert control over Normandy, invaded his brother's lands. The two brothers faced off once more, but this time they reached a truce. Robert and William agreed to a treaty. wherein William would help Robert reclaim parts of Normandy that had been lost to other factions, and in return, Robert would recognize William as the legitimate king of England. Robert even left for the First Crusade in 1096, temporarily relinquishing control of Normandy to William in exchange for funding his journey. William Rufus now controlled both England and Normandy. William was known for his tumultuous relationship with the church. Unlike his father, who had maintained a careful balance with religious authorities, William Rufus often clashed with the clergy. He was seen as irreligious and, at times, openly scornful of church customs. One of the defining conflicts of William Rufus's reign was his tense relationship with the church, particularly with Anselm, the Archbishop of Canterbury. This conflict began when the position of Archbishop became vacant after the death of Lanfranc, William's trusted advisor and Archbishop of Canterbury. William, always on the lookout for ways to increase his wealth and power, delayed appointing a new archbishop. This allowed him to seize the revenues from the vast lands of Canterbury, which traditionally belonged to the church. Eventually, under pressure from both the church and the nobility, William was forced to appoint Anselm as Archbishop of Canterbury in 1093. Anselm, a devout and principled man, clashed with the king almost immediately. The king wanted to maintain his grip on church revenues and influence appointments, but Anselm was determined to defend the church's autonomy. The conflict grew so bitter that in 1097, Anselm was forced into exile. William Rufus continued to collect revenues from Canterbury's lands. Throughout his reign, William's financial demands on the church were relentless. He saw church lands as a source of income to fund his ambitions, particularly his military campaigns in Normandy and his lavish court. On August 2, 1100, while hunting in the New Forest, William Rufus was struck by an arrow and killed. The exact circumstances of his death remain unclear, leading to speculation about whether it was an accident or intentional. Some believe it could have been an assassination, as William had many enemies due to his conflicts with the church and the nobility. William Rufus never married and left no legitimate heirs, which caused concern among the Norman nobility. His death created uncertainty over the future of the throne. Robert Curthose could have claimed the English crown, but he was still returning from the Crusades at the time. By the time Robert arrived, their younger brother, Henry, had already seized the crown and was crowned as Henry I. Despite his controversial rule, William Rufus left a significant mark on England's history. His reign strengthened the Norman grip on the English throne, and his conflicts with the church set the stage for the power struggles that would follow. Though often overshadowed by his father, William the Conqueror, and his brother Henry, William Rufus's legacy is one of strength, ambition, and mystery.